Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome to episode 31 of the Unstoppable Entertainment Show, the most comprehensive entertainment news show on the internet. I am, of course, Nate Schaffner, otherwise known as the Unstoppable Nate. How are you all doing this week? I hope you're doing okay. I know it's a crazy world out there, and excuse me. I hope that this show can provide a brief respite for whatever it is that you're going through in life. Before I get started, I just wanted to remind everybody if you have a comment, a question, or if you'd like me to talk about certain movies or franchises, you can email me anytime at the address listed in the description of this video. Also, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and spread the word. Tell your friends. I'd like to build more of a community with this show. So I um, I saw Predator Badlands today, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's There are no human characters in the movie, and I loved that. Um, I would and I say this as a huge fan of the Predator movies and the Alien movies because I mean, let's face it, the Alien and Predator movies kind of exist. They exist in the same universe. So I say this, I'm speaking specifically about the Predator movies, and I say this as a huge fan of the original Predator. This one is the best one. It's great. It's awesome. Please go see it. Um, so I just wanted to throw that out there. So let's get started for this week. And I wanted to talk about something rather sad that happened recently. So back in August, Terence Stamp uh, died at the age of 87. And for someone like me, I grew up watching specifically Superman 2. Like that was on TV all the time when I was a kid. Um, More so than I love the original Superman film, but Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve, that one was on TV all the time. I grew up watching that movie, and Terrence Stamp playing General Zod in that movie was just that was one of the, like, I remember as a kid being scared. Like he was somebody that you generally feared, that character. And as I got older, you know uh realizing how awesome and how great that character really is, and the way Terrence Stamp played him, is it will go down as one of the greatest villain portrayals in superhero movies, I think. And he appeared in other stuff, as well. He was in. Um, I want to. I want to just run through quick. Um, he appeared in the Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon and Emily Blunt, and that ended up being a movie that I really enjoyed. Um, it was different than the kind of movie that was marketed. I was like, well, this is different than what I've seen in the trailers, but I ended up really enjoying it. And he was in that. Um, he was in uh, Yes Man with Jim Carrey as the kind of public speaker who held these meetings uh, about saying yes to everything. And there's that scene where he runs up with a microphone and, like, with Jim Carrey right in his face, and he's like, "Do you want to make covenant to Carl?" And he just whaps Jim Carrey on the head. Um, he was in there were he he did a couple of stinkers towards the end of his career. I think, like he was in the Elektra movie as Stick, which the movie wasn't very good, but him being in that movie was one of the saving graces. Like that, I came away going like I just saw Terence Stamp on the big screen. That was pretty cool. Um, and I think the last movie he did was a movie called Last Night in Soho, which was directed by Edgar Wright. And the movie didn't do very well. Um, and But I know that he was in it, and I heard it. The movie was actually great. Um, so it was good to know that he kind of went out on a high note. But he just hadn't seen I haven't seen much of his stuff, but the performances that I have seen him, you know, like because I have such fond memories of watching Superman 2 so much as a kid. Whenever as I got older and watched more movies, every time he would be in a movie that I would watch, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, look," I mean, it just put a smile on my face just watching him. So I just wanted to take a minute and say a few words about Terrence Stamp and no, I am not going to do that iconic General Zod line. Uh, if you Superman fans out there know which line I'm talking about, I'm not going to do it. That line is, I'm going to save that just for him. Only he could say it like him. But he is missed, and you know, it'll he was wonderful to watch, at least for me. So I just wanted to say a few minutes, say a few things about Terrence Stamp. So let's move on here. Um, let's see. So I just got rid of my Windows. Okay. So this next um, report is rather interesting and has me question, like, I read this and I'm like, okay, but why? So I personally am not a fan of the uh, scary movie franchise. I'm not a fan of those movies. They're fine. They're a little. I understand what they're going for. I love spoof movies, but they just, to me, those movies are a little over the top and kind of crude. Um, I've seen the first three, and the first three I think are rather funny. I don't think they're the funniest movies in the world, but I find them entertaining. But I've only seen the first three. I haven't seen any more of them. So, it is with great dubiousness. Is that a word? Dubiousness. It is with great dubiousness that I I read this report now that I'm going to read. This report is on CBR, published by Lee Freitag. So, before I read this article, there is going to be a sixth scary movie. That's right, folks. Scary Movie 6. Why? I have no idea. But more on that later. So this article, as I said, is on CBR, published by Lee Freitag, and this is regarding casting news for Scary Movie 6. This article says 2 more Scary Movie alums are now confirmed to be returning for the upcoming 6th movie. The horror parody sequel is scheduled to hit theaters next June. Per The Hollywood Reporter, Anna Faris and Regina Hall will be back for next year's Scary Movie 6, reprising their franchise roles as Cindy Campbell and Brenda Meeks. Um, so that's basically what this article is saying. Um, you know, so I I mean, the Scary Movie franchise, I mean, those movies make money, but I mean, just because, look, I've 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 said this for a while. Just because a movie makes a lot of money doesn't mean it's good. It means that people like box office doesn't. If you look at box office numbers don't reflect the quality of a movie. They reflect what people want to see. And obviously, for whatever reason, people continue to see people have flocked to see the first 5 scary movies, and they've made a lot of money, so they're going to do a 6th one. Let me get this out of the way first. Regina Hall is fucking hilarious. Like she is, I she's just I find her like it's weird because I think the scary movie franchise is a little over the top and crude, like I said, but her type of comedy works in those movies, and I think that is the perfect uh, um, combination. I'm not uh, big on Anna Faris. I mean, she kind of is good at playing that kind of aloof kind of character that she plays in the scary movie in this franchise. But sometimes I feel like she's trying too hard. Um, and um, she, as far as I know, she hasn't done much recently. Um, so I feel like she could. I mean, and I don't mean this to come off too personal, but it sounds like Anna Faris could use a hit. It sounds like I think people need to. I think people need to be reminded of who Anna Faris is. I mean, she was on this. She did do this show that my wife and I watched called Mom, and she's great on that show. But that show was a while ago, so I have complicated feelings about this. I mean, do these movies make a lot of money? Sure. Are they good movies? Um, and by the way, I could be completely wrong about Anna Faris. It may, it just seems to me that she could use uh, a little bit of a career um, resurgence. That's the word I'm looking for. But I could be wrong, But Scary Movie 6, if it's good, I'll see it. But the other part of me is like, why? Why do they do this? Why? So anyway, jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about this. Let's see, what's the next one that I wanted to talk about? Oh, so this next piece of news um, is about an upcoming dramedy. Um, I've always loved that word, dramedy. Um, so uh, this is interesting news because it in, it's interesting to me because it involves an actor. It involves two actors, one of whom I'm a huge fan of, and one of whom I like but not. Anyway, so this article is on Joe Blow, published by Steve Saig, and this article says Kevin Costner and Jake Gyllenhaal will take an unconventional approach to loss while starring in the dramedy Honeymoon with Harry from This Is Us and Paradise creator Dan Fogelman. The project comes from Amazon MGM Studios, based on the book by Bart Baker. According to Deadline, Honeymoon with Harry follows a man played by Jake Gyllenhaal as he decides to go on a honeymoon with his would-be father-in-law, Kevin Costner, after his fiancee dies 2 days before their wedding. That, okay, let me just say this first. That premise sounds that it could be good. You know, that's an interesting take on the dramedy genre. Like going on a honeymoon with your father-in-law. Uh, that that sounds like it could be very entertaining. Okay, so here's where it gets a little complicated, at least for me. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I've loved him. I think the first movie um, that I saw him in was Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko's a trip, like that. Like you need. I always feel like I need to mentally unwind after I see that movie. Um, and it's wild to believe that his first role, I think it was his first role, was playing Billy Crystal's son in City Slickers. That was 1991. But I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He for me is in that category of great actors who have never won an Oscar. And you wonder why they've never won an Oscar, right? Because he's incredibly talented. I'm not big on Kevin Costner. I mean, I like him. You know, I think he's a decent actor. Um, I I enjoy his work more as a director, though. I'm not big on him as an actor. I'm not too big on him as a person either. Considering all the drama that happened with him leaving Yellowstone, and then all the BS, all the behind the scenes all the questionable things that have happened with his Horizon and American Saga movies. I'm not I'm not too big a fan of him as a person. Um, and I like him fine as an actor, but he's not somebody who like I'm not gonna watch a movie just because he's in it. You know what I mean? Like I'm the opposite with Jake Gyllenhaal. You know, Jake Gyllenhaal, I love him. That being said, I think this could be a good project for Jake Gyllenhaal and Kevin Costner. And Kevin Costner's look, he's been around. He's been around a while. You know, he'll be a great uh, co-star. Uh, and Jake Gyllenhaal's been around a long time too. So their on-screen chemistry is gonna be really good, I think. And I think, and again, I may be speaking out of turn. I may be completely off base, but I think Kevin Costner somehow, some way, needs to get back in the good graces of his fans. Um, and maybe this will be the movie that does it. You know, maybe it will, maybe it won't. All I know is the premise sounds entertaining. You know, going on with, you know, having to go on your honeymoon or choosing to go on your honeymoon with your father-in-law because your wife dies um, 2 days before uh, 2 days before the wedding. I mean, that sounds like it could be a really dark comedy. And I think it could be an interesting challenge for both um, Jake Gyllenhaal and Kevin Costner, because I don't recall them doing anything like this. So I hope it's good. I like Kevin Costner just fine. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and you know this sounds really interesting. It sounds really entertaining to me. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this. Um, so let's move on here as I get ready. So this is interesting, and this next piece of news is interesting, and I'll get to why it's interesting. Um, so for those who don't know, there is going to be a new um, Lord of the Rings movie called The Hunt for Gollum. It's going to be directed by Andy Serkis, and there's that. I'm trying to think. There's okay. So in the Fellowship of the Ring, in the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, at least in the movie, there's that period of time where Gandalf, uh, Gandalf shows up for Bilbo's party, and then he leaves. And I'm talking specifically about the movie because um, anybody who's read the books knows the story. But as far as the Lord of the Rings movie film adaptations, they left some things out. So as far as the movie is concerned, there's a period of time. Gandalf shows up for Bilbo's birthday party, and then he finds out that the ring that Bilbo has is the One Ring. And in the movie, he says, he tells Frodo, you know, I need to leave. There are questions that's what he says. He says there are questions that need answering. And Frodo's like, I don't understand. And Gandalf, there's that great shot of Gandalf going, neither do I. And then he leaves. And in the book, he's gone for like 17 years or something like that. But it's obviously for a film adaptation, that's a little different. But he returns and talks to Frodo. And he gives Frodo kind of like the basic, like the Cliff Notes version of what happened. He's like, I looked everywhere for the creature Gollum, but the enemy found him first. So this movie, The Hunt for Gollum, is going to be that story. Like, so as far as watching the movies go, I guess, you could watch Fellowship of the Ring up till the part where Gandalf leaves the Shire, tells Frodo he's going to leave, then go and watch The Hunt for Gollum, and then come back and watch the rest of the Fellowship of the Ring. That's my understanding as well. At least, not as well. That's my understanding, is that the Hunt for Gollum movie will take place during the time that like what he says, I looked everywhere for the creature Gollum, but the enemy found him first. The hunt for Gollum is going to take place during that time period. Hence the name, The Hunt for Gollum. Andy Serkis is directing uh, um, the movie as well as playing Gollum again. Um, and I have some concerns about that. Not him playing Gollum, but him directing the movie. He's directed a couple of things. One movie, um, he directed. I forget the title of it, but let me actually now it's gonna bug me. Um, so um, let's see. Well, he directed Venom: Let There Be Carnage, which I did not see. I heard it was terrible. He also directed this movie called Breathe with um hold on, with Andrew Garfield, Claire Foy. Yeah. And I heard that was good. I heard it was pretty good. So I have my concerns about him directing because he has two, as far as I know, he has a couple of films under his belt as a director, one of which was terrible and one was pretty good. So I hope that this movie is good. Now, what I'm about so this article, let me get into this article here. So this article is on Joe Blow, published by E.J. Tangerman. Um, so first of all, this article does point out that the movie has been delayed to December of 2027. Um, and this a little ways down in the article, it says this. Again, this is on Joe Blow, published by E.J. Tangerman. While fans await new details, Ian McKellen may have something that can whet their appetites as he teases two characters who will be featured in the new movie. Deadline reports that McKellen took to the stage For the Love of Fantasy event and teased a little information on the hunt for Gollum. And this is actually kind of funny. The actor coyly said, I hear there's going to be another movie set in Middle Earth, and it's going to start filming in May. It's going to be directed by Gollum, and it's all about Gollum. I'll tell you secrets about the casting. There's a character in the movie called Frodo, and there's a character in the movie called Gandalf. Apart from that, my lips are sealed. So, here's what's interesting. I hear there's a character named Gandalf, and I hear there's a Gandalf. I could absolutely, um, like, duh, he's going to be in the movie. And Ian McKellen has gone on the record of basically saying, as long as he's alive, as long as Ian McKellen is alive, no one's going to play Gandalf but me. Excuse me. Um, the interesting thing about this is um, Frodo being in the movie. I assume that Elijah Wood is going to be in it. But what's interesting about this is that, like, how is he going to be in this movie? Like, in what capacity? Or is he are they just going to reuse footage from Fellowship of the Ring and just credit Elijah Wood as being in the movie, or are they going to film some other little scenes like they did at the with the first Hobbit movie. Elijah Wood was in there for like the couple introductory scenes before to kind of they Frodo was in the beginning of the first Hobbit movie, and he went off to wait for Gandalf, and then we get to Bilbo telling the story. Is it kind of going to be like that? Like, is Elijah Wood like? I'm just wondering in what capacity is he going to be in the film? Now, here's what's interesting for anybody who's read the book. Um, in the books, and again, and I understand why it was left out of the movie, but in the book, Gandalf and Aragorn looked for Gollum together. And they were like I said before, they were gone they were doing it for quite a while. They were hunting Gollum for a long time. Is Excuse me. I'm wondering if they're going to do that and have Viggo Mortensen come back as Aragorn, because that would be cool. That would be really cool. I mean, they would maybe have to do some de aging on him a little bit, but um, it would be cool to see Viggo Mortensen come back, and I'm sure if the script, I mean, it would be odd. Not it would I think it would be odd to not have Aragorn in the movie, and it would be odd not to have Viggo play Aragorn. Um, we'll see. I mean, maybe the script doesn't. Maybe it's just going to be Gandalf hunting Gollum. I don't know. It would be really cool to see them adhere to the book and have Gandalf and Aragorn hunt Gollum together. That would be really really cool. If the script I just hope the script is good and it's directed very well. And I'm sure if the script is good enough, Viggo Mortensen would come back. That it would be great to see him. So, but yeah, that's it's funny to me, you know, Ian McKellen be like, I hear there's a character named Gandalf, and I hear there's a character named Frodo. Other than that, I can't tell you. Like, it's kind of like, well, I love how coy he is. Like, duh, Gandalf's going to be in the movie. The surprise is Frodo. That again, that's like, okay, in what capacity? I it would be cool to see Viggo Mortensen back as Aragorn. So anyway, jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about that. Um, Moving on here. Let me see here. Okay, so last episode I mentioned um, I was talked about this movie that Chris Rock is going to be directing, um, and I think does it have a name? Does the movie have? Okay, so so this movie there's this movie coming that Chris Rock is going to be directing, and there have been some cast additions to that movie. This article is on Deadline, published by Matt Grobar. um, let's see here. This article says Chris Rock has added 4 to the cast of his new untitled directorial effort for A24 Studios. Emmy and Golden Globe nominee Anthony Anderson, uh, Kelli Garner from Lars and the Real Girl, Amy Landecker from Transparent, and Rich Sommer from Clipped. Um, That's what it was. So, okay. It says character details are under wraps. As previously announced, Rosalind Eleazar plays the lead role with Adam Driver, Daniel Kaluuya, Anna Kendrick, Topher Grace, and Rock all set to star. Currently untitled, the film follows Misty Green, a gifted actress with a derailed career until someone from her past offers her a chance at a comeback. So I think that's actually going to be the title of the movie is Misty Green. Okay. So, okay, I admittedly I don't have much to say about this cast because I'm not too familiar with their work other than Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson um, is wonderful. In I've you know especially in comedy. I mentioned Regina Hall earlier. Anthony Anderson is, at least for me, kind of similar to Regina Hall. His type of comedy is very similar to Regina Hall's. He kind of has this over the top thing that works that works for him, and um, it sticks with you. Not a lot of people can do that. So look, I always say that the more casting news regarding something means it's going to start filming soon. I hope this is good. I hope uh, it would be nice to see this very large cast come together and make something good. I love Anthony Anderson. I hope this goes well for Chris Rock as a director. And if it does, let me just get this out of the way. I I am not a fan of Chris Rock. At, well, at least within the past few years. Um, and I'm not gonna. Anybody who knows what has happened, the whole Oscars thing. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not a fan of Chris Rock within the past few years. However, I would never wish ill will towards someone or someone's career. You know, I want people to succeed. Um, um, and compare. Let me back that up a little bit. What what Chris Rock did at the Oscars is not something is quite tame compared to what other um, people in Hollywood have done. It's quite tame to what other celebrities, other bad things that celebrities have done. Chris Rock has did nothing that makes me like, um, I'm trying very hard not to. I'm trying very hard to get my words out. Chris Rock did not do anything at the Oscars that uh like it's not like now I'm not going to see anything he's in. You know what I mean? What he did was not that severe. I'm not a fan of what he did, and I don't think that what he did was very nice. Um, you know, but I hope this goes well for him. I hope this goes well for him as a director, and maybe he can get more work as a director. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, but this cast seems to be rounding out nicely. I hope this movie is good. I hope it's successful. So jump in the comment section and let me know uh, what you guys think about this news. Sorry if I struggled to get my words out. I do apologize for that. So this next bit of news is again it's one of those like why sometimes choices are made in the entertainment industry in the film and TV industry that I'm just like whose bright idea was this anyway so I want to I want to preface this with something. So I I'm a huge fan of the show The Big Bang Theory. I love that show. I watching that show, I was like, wow, this show was made just for me. You know, it's a show about nerds. You know, it's a show about geekdom. Um, and there's one episode where I forget his name, but Penny is dating somebody, and he's well stupid. He's um he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Um, but you know he's good looking. You know, so that's why Penny's not with him for his intelligence. Let's just leave it at that. So there's an episode where all the guys, Leonard, Sheldon, and Raj and Howard, they take I forget his name. They take this guy as kind of like a, you know, we're going to try to be friends with you. We're going to try real hard to be friends with you. And they take him to the comic book store. And um this guy goes to why am I blanking on the guy that owns the comic book store? The guy that Penny dates goes to the guy and he's like, "Hey, where do you keep the Archies?" And Sheldon says, maybe he says to Sheldon, maybe he asks Sheldon. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, this guy is like, "Where do they keep the Archies?" And Sheldon says, "In the bedrooms of 12-year-old girls where they belong." Well, according to this report, an Archie movie is happening. Um, this article is on Joe Blow, published by Cody Haman. I'm going to try to get through this with a straight face. Uh, about a little ways down the article, it says the Hollywood Reporter has revealed. Okay, so let me back up here. It says this article starts. Among other credits, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller have made the Lego Movie, brought 21 Jump Street to the big screen, and have been shepherding the animated Spider-Verse films through the long, difficult process of making their way out into the world. And now, they've set their sights on Archie. The Hollywood Reporter has revealed that a feature adaptation of the Archie comic books is in the works at Universal Pictures, with Lord and Miller producing. Set in the fictional and idyllic Midwestern community of Riverdale, the Archie comics center on teenager Archie Andrews and his interactions with other characters like Jughead Jones, Betty Cooper, Veronica Lodge, Reggie Mantle, Josie and the Pussycats, and more. Tom King, an award-winning comic book artist who has a key consultant on James Gunn's Superman, is writing the script for the Archie movie. Okay. So, I have concerns, I have questions, but given the people involved, I think this could actually be entertaining. So, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, like this article points out, the Lego Movie, 21 Jump Street, the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse films, which are awesome, by the way. Everything that Phil Lord and Christopher Miller have touched, damn near everything they've touched, has been awesome. Let me just say that. Everything they've touched is awesome. Plus, you have Tom King writing the script for this movie. What Tom King did with Batman, Tom King wrote a series uh, of comic books, series of Batman comic books, and they're great. They're 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 badass. Tom King is one of the best things that has ever happened to Batman as far as the comics are concerned. So, my trepidation for an Archie movie is somewhat my trepidation has diminished because of the creative people involved. I'm still wondering why an Archie movie is happening. But maybe with these creative people involved, you know, people will be people will flock to see this movie, and you know, maybe the Archie maybe Archie will be a household name again. You know, maybe it always was. I don't know. I never read Archie. Good lord. Um, you know, so yeah. So I mean, this could be good. Um, I hope that it is. Um, I like I said at at first I when I read the headline, an Archie movie is in the works. I'm like, oh my god, like they've really scraped the bottom of the barrel here. But then Phil Lord, Chris Miller, Tom King, I'm like, oh, that could be cool. You know, all right. Well, um, jump in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think they could. This might actually work. I think they could pull this off. But I've been wrong before. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Um, let's move on here to this. So, one of my favorite actresses right now is Octavia Spencer. Um, it's interesting now to see how far her career has gone, and what it's and see what it's been, because she's been in everything. Like I remember, like she was on episodes of The Big Bang Theory where she was the lady at the DMV when Sheldon needed to learn how to drive. Look at the sign. Does it say I give a damn? And then she was in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. When Peter Parker goes to the wrestling match, and there's what did she say? There's no she says something like there's no juvenile division here, small fry. Yeah, she 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 says down the hall to the left. May God be with you. It's just I was like, and it's funny now, like old watching stuff like that. I was like, holy shit, that's Octavia Spencer, and she was in it for 3 seconds, and it was great. So anyway, so I love Octavia Spencer. So recently, and this is kind of related, but kind of not. So recently, there have been um, uh, numerous film adaptations of well-known plays that actors and directors have tackled. Um, Denzel Washington directed and starred in the film adaptation of Fences, which was great, and Fences will go down as his best work. I really believe that. Um, and there's another uh, film adaptation of a play coming with Octavia Spencer and Jeffrey Wright, who I also really I like him quite a bit. So this article is on Variety, published by Jack Dunn. Um, Jeffrey Wright and Octavia Spencer are set to co-star in. I am going to absolutely mispronounce this name. Are set to co-star in Chinanye Chukwu and Tony Kushner's big screen adaptation of Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman at Focus Features and Amblin Entertainment, Variety has confirmed. Jeffrey Wright will lead as Willie Loman, and Octavia Spencer will play his wife, Linda. The two-act tragedy, which first premiered on Broadway, in 1949, follows an exhausted traveling salesman who tries to start prioritizing his family over his grueling career after a near-fatal car accident and a fruitless business trip to Boston. Excuse me just a second. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. First of all, let me say this: Death of a Salesman is a I believe it's a Pulitzer Prize winning play. Like and it won a Tony. I know it won a Tony Award. It's been adapted for the I think it's been adapted for a movie before. I know the play won a Tony. I think it won a Pulitzer. It's obviously one of the greatest stage productions ever written. Period. End of story. Okay, so I'm not. Okay, Chinanye Chukwu. I'm not familiar with them. But Tony Kushner has worked with Steven Spielberg a lot. So I'm familiar with that name, and his collaborations with Steven Spielberg have been tremendous. I talked about Octavia Spencer. I love her. She's one of my favorite actresses working right now. Seeing her in The Help with Jessica Chastain, she did this kind of horror thriller called Ma, which I have not seen, but I always wanted to. I was like, oh, Octavia Spencer doing a horror movie. That's awesome. She's been in so much stuff. Jeffrey Wright, and Octavia Spencer, by the way, also won the Oscar for her help. Won her Oscar for The Help. And there's going to be a sequel to Ma as well. But anyway, so Jeffrey Wright. I first saw Jeffrey Wright in the first Daniel Craig James Bond movie, Casino Royale. And he played Felix Leiter, and he was great. And he's always great. He's a wonderful actor, and he's one of those. He kind of, if you know he's in something, and then it's going to be good, kind of feel to it. Oh, if he's in it, it must be good. I think he was in the Denzel Washington movie recently, Highest to Lowest, which was an American remake of High and Low. And he was nominated for American Fiction. I really like Jeffrey Wright. So these two playing a husband and wife in Death of a Salesman. Oh my God. I mean, you talk about star power. I this could be. I mean, it sounds weird to say because theoretically every movie it falls into this category, but this sounds like it could be an Oscar contender just from the cast. I mean, this could you might see this movie pop up at a in some awards recognition when it's released. Look, we've seen film adaptations of stage plays before done very well, um, and this could be one of them. I think, especially if Tony Kushner's involved. I think this could be really well done, and I really like Jeffrey Wright and Octavia Spencer as a couple. I love that. So hopefully this is good, and maybe Jeffrey Wright will finally win that Oscar. Yeah, God, he's so good. God, he's so good. And maybe Octavia Spencer will get another one. Who knows? But let me know what you guys think about Jeffrey Wright and Octavia Spencer. To they're going to co-star as a couple in Death of a Salesman. Moving right along here. Good thing I have these articles saved. Okay, so for one of my favorite directors right now is Jeremy Saulnier. Um, he did this movie called Green Room, which was unbelievable. Um, um, it has Patrick Stewart as a villain, which is incredible. And then he did this movie called Rebel Ridge, which was good. He's got this new genre picture called October coming from A24 Studios. Um, it's plot is the film's plot is kind of it's being kept under wraps, but it's the movie is being described as a fugitive thriller. So let's get into this article here because this article goes into casting for that movie. This article is on Deadline, published by Matt Grobar. Um, A24 Studios October, the new genre picture from Rebel Ridge and Green Room helmer Jeremy Saulnier, has added two buzzy up-and-comers with a track record at the studio. Chase Sui Wonders from the studio and Sophie Wilde from Talk to Me, who will star alongside the previously announced Corey Michael Smith. Character details are under wraps and the film's plot is being kept hush-hush as well, but sources have described the project as a fugitive thriller set during Halloween. Oh my god. Saulnier will direct from his own script with A24 producing and financing. Okay, so let me get this out of the way first. Jeremy Saulnier is one of my favorite directors working right now. What he's done with what God, Green Room blew my fucking mind. He really has kind of this you know when I was in film school, I was in this directing class, and we were asked about um, who we thought were auteurist directors. Um, they have their meaning directors who have their own sensibilities, and like you can watch a movie and easily tell, oh, this guy directed this, or you can just tell by watching a movie. And Jeremy Saulnier, I think, is one of those directors. I mean, his stuff is so uh, breathtakingly original. I find. Um, I think he did Blue Ruin, this movie called Blue Ruin, um, which you know, don't look it up, don't read anything about it, just watch it. Same with Green Room. If you haven't seen Green Room, don't look it up, don't watch the trailer, don't read anything about it. Just put it on and oh my god. Um, okay, so let's get to this cast here. So I'm not familiar with uh, Chase Sui Wonders because I haven't watched the studio. Sophie Wilde was in that horror movie recently, Talk to Me, which I actually haven't seen, but I've heard it's great, and I've heard she was great in it. But I am familiar with her because so she's obviously a great um, new a great uh, actress, new actress of this generation. I that's what I'm trying to say. A fugitive thriller set during Halloween. Okay, I don't know why, but when I hear fugitive thriller set during Halloween, I think of like imagine literally watching a horror version of The Fugitive. I don't know why that popped into my head. And I love The Fugitive. Oh my god. Fugitive so great. Like but a horror version of that. Holy cow. I mean that could be I don't know why that popped into my head. But that sounds great to me. And with um an original kind of an original filmmaker, like a very auteurist filmmaker like Jeremy Saulnier at the helm, this could be really interesting and really unforgettable. I think is the right word to use here. Um, so yeah, jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this. This sounds really like now I'm like this could be really uh, this could put some butts in seats. I'll tell you that. So excuse me again. So you might remember from my last couple of episodes that one of there's a movie coming that I wasn't excited for at all at first, and every little every new announcement about it, now I'm actually starting to get really excited, and it's the Highlander remake. The director, it's being directed by Chad Stahelski. Henry Cavill is going to play the Highlander. Russell Crowe, I believe, is going to play the mentor role. Um, and Dave Bautista was just announced as playing the villain. Like I think is he going to play the Kurgan? I think it's good. Well, he's going to play the villain. So now this is oh my god. So now there's more casting news regarding the Highlander remake. This article was on CBR, published by Lee Freitag. God, I hate the word reboot. Just call it a remake. That's what everybody calls it. Don't call it a reboot, call it a remake. Amazon MGM Studios' Highlander reboot has just become a Guardians of the Galaxy reunion project. Um, Karen Gillan, who played Nebula in the Marvel Cinematic Universe trilogy, has been cast in the fantasy action movie. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Karen Gillan will play Heather, The mortal wife of Henry Cavill's immortal warrior, Connor MacLeod, and the love of his life. Oh my god. Okay. I I love Karen Gillan so much. She was great as Nebula in the Marvel movies. And you know what? She was, you know what else she was great in? She was great in the Jumanji movies. You know, I mean, and those movies are just damn entertaining. And she was in the Jumanji movies. She was funny, and but she could also be very serious and kick a lot of ass. And her playing Henry Cavill's wife, um, Heather, in this Highlander remake. Henry Cavill's a lucky dude. I can tell you that right now. This I am so in love with this cast right now. I think there's nothing to me. I love being proven wrong about movies. Sometimes I hate being proven wrong. Like if I think a movie's good and then it ends up being shit. But a lot of times I love ending up being wrong. Like I have I have I had zero interest in this movie when it was first announced, and now I'm stoked for it. Now I can't wait for it. You got Chad Stahelski directing, which he did an awesome job with the John Wick movies. You have Henry Cavill. You have Russell Crowe. You have Dave Bautista. You have Karen Gillan. This could be. I think this is going to be a real hit. This sounds awesome. Um, I just Henry Cavill and Karen Gillan as a couple. I buy that. Like I believe. Sometimes when you sometimes when certain actors are cast in certain roles, you just go, I don't buy that. I don't believe that. Sometimes the verisimilitude of a reality is broken because of miscasting. This is great casting. This is great. Um, this movie is shaping up to something that I'm really excited to see. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about Karen Gillan playing Henry Cavill's wife in the Highlander remake. One last bit of news for this episode. Let me see here. Yeah. So, um, let me see. Here we go. So I it's no secret I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of my favorite, I guess, uh, trilogies of movies within um, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I love those movies. The Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Um, I I was moved to tears with No Way Home. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I fucking ugly cried for 10 minutes with Spider-Man No Way Home. So I think one of the more interesting projects, simply because of like what the story is going to be, is the fourth Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Like, and I say that because again, like I'm just interested in what the story is going to be because Peter, given the events of No Way Home, like he's on his own now. He doesn't have anybody to necessarily rely on because nobody knows him. Nobody knows who he is. Everybody's forgotten him. So we have some more casting news, but I should say that I can't, given the information that's given, I don't have much to offer. So take that with what you will. So this article is on Variety, published by Katzy Steffen. This article says, Tramell Tillman is heading from the severed floor to the streets of New York City. The Emmy-nominated actor is joining the cast of Sony and Marvel's Spider-Man Brand New Day, Variety has learned exclusively. Details on Tillman's character and the web-slinging adventure remain under wraps, but he'll join Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Zendaya's MJ Jones Watson, Jacob Batalon's Ned Leeds, John Bernthal's Punisher, and Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, plus additional cast members Sadie Sink and Liza Colon-Zayas in mysterious new roles. This movie is going to be directed. So Tramell Tillman was on that Apple TV Plus series Severance, and he got an Emmy nomination for that. He was also in why am I blanking on the name? He was in the most recent Mission Impossible movie. Was it Final Reckoning? Is that what it's called? That movie's great. So he's going to be in. So Tramell Tillman is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Character details are under wraps. I always say, if a character detail is being kept under wraps, that means it's an important character. At least in my mind, it is. Possibly it could be a big reveal of a villain or a big reveal of somebody. And again, more casting news means they're going to be filming soon. I again, like I said on last episode, I think production has been delayed because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Tom Holland suffered a concussion during filming. I hear he's recovering quite well. I hope so. But now, so this movie is going to be directed by I want to make sure I get his name right. The same guy who directed the Marvel. He directed another Marvel movie. I want to get his name right. Hold on, sorry. Destin Daniel Cretton. He directed Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is awesome. Shang-Chi is great. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Destin Daniel Cretton is going to be directing Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that's great news. As far as Tramell Tillman, his role being kept under wraps probably means it's going to be one of those holy shit moments during holy shit, he's playing that guy during the movie. And again, it means they're rounding out the cast, meaning hopefully they'll get back to resuming filming soon. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about Tramell Tillman being cast in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and who do you think he's playing? Let the speculation begin. So that'll about do it for today's episode. Sorry it's a little late, but I wanted to get one in before the end of the day. I'll probably be on again tomorrow at some time. But yeah, I hope everybody continues to enjoy this show. I hope you don't mind the scruffiness. But I hope you guys continue to enjoy the show, and I hope you guys spread the word. I enjoy talking about movies. I enjoy watching movies. I love talking about the business. I love talking about the industry. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy it. So I will be back tomorrow at some point. Um, and as always, I hope everyone out there has is doing okay and had a good day. And as always, I will see you at the movies.